Hey guys, today I will be working in my wood shop. I need to build a wood rack. Once again, I'm going to draw out the plans before I start. This helps me visualize what I'm thinking and helps me logically think through the steps of building it. With this design, I haven't seen anything quite like it before. I wanted to make something different and design it myself, so this is the design I came up with. I wanted this rack to be movable. I didn't want it bolted to the wall or anything like that. If my shop layout changes, I can move this, slide it across the floor. And also, I wanted to make it rugged enough to hold all the wood in my shop, but also be able to hold the plywood and sheets that I have throughout my shop. So that will finish up my plans for the wood rack. I have already measured the shop and my ceiling isn't too high, so I'm just going to have it at 6 feet high and then also 6 feet long, 3 feet wide at the base, and then a foot wide at the top. Also, these bars, I'll be cutting 40 of those at a foot long. I'm going to be using 3/4 inch conduit for that, and I purposefully tilted the uprights in. That way all the weight is pushing towards each other and it adds a lot more stability, as well as the bars will be tilting upward, keeping the wood on the rack. Here is a better view of the plans. I will try to stick as closely as possible to these plans as I can and see how this works. Lately, I've been trying to figure out a better layout for my shop. Currently, there's a lot of wasted space, so I want to be able to use that space the best that I can. So I designed this layout on the computer, printed it out, and all the tables and shelves and stations are movable. So I've tried a couple different options to see what works best. Now, this is my shop currently. There's a lot of wood laying around, and the shelf that I have doesn't fit everything. I'm sure this will drive some of you crazy because it's a little bit of a mess, but it's a work in progress. But what I really need right now is a rack to store all of my wood and keep everything organized. Now, most of this was here when I moved in, the shelf in the corner and the workbench and the saw table. So I will be replacing this and trying to reuse some of the materials. Everything that I'm using for the wood rack I already have or will be coming from the shelf I'm taking down, except for the conduit. I'll be buying that, and it will only be about $25, but most of everything I'll just be using scrap wood that I've been holding on to, waiting for a project. So it's a pretty cheap build if you have some scrap wood laying around. Now, as I take apart this shelf, I really want to be as careful as I can not to damage any of the wood and gently take it apart because I'm going to be reusing this wood for the wood rack. Now that I have all that cleaned up, I'm going to start cutting the wood for the uprights and the 4x4s for the base. As you can see, the saw table is not ideal. It was here when I bought the house, so it's on my list as one of the next projects I need to do to update my shop. I need to build a new saw table. Right here I'm cutting a notch into the 2x4. This will be able to set down on top of the 4x4. That way it holds all the weight instead of depending on just the screws to hold it. Right here I'm setting the depth for the 4x4 base. I'm cutting a notch out for this so that the 2x3 can set down into the 4x4 and tie all the sections together. I'm just pre-drilling these 2x4s. They are a bit small, so I don't want it to split. Here's the drill bit I'll be using. This is 7/8. I got the 3/4 inch conduit, but the pipe itself is a little bit thicker than 3/4, so the 7/8 works perfectly. I'm drilling these holes about halfway through the 2x4. I didn't want to go all the way through because it might weaken the strength of the uprights if you go all the way, so I just went halfway. That is 40 pieces of conduit cut at 1 foot each. You'll want the conduit to be snug going into the wood, that way it'll add a little bit more strength and it won't accidentally fall out when it's not supposed to. I found that if you grind off the sharp edge off of the pipe, it goes into the wood a lot easier, doesn't get caught, but you don't have to do this, it just makes it a little easier. Alright, so I have my wood rack all done. I'm going to call it a night, pick this back up tomorrow. I absolutely love this. I still have a lot more wood that needs to go on here, but there's still lots of room left. And I have a lot of things that have been displaced from building this wood rack, so I have to find a new home for it. So hopefully I can finish this up tomorrow. This is one of the pieces from the piano that I salvaged. I've got a whole bunch of wood scraps that I need to take all the screws out, clean it up before stacking it. So I'll be working on that. And I've also got a bunch of skids that I need to break down and stack as well. Shop now on this rack. It took some doing because I had some used wood and some skids that I still need to break down and pull the nails out, but I've got everything done now. I have to start rearranging my shop a little bit now because this kind of ruins the setup that I had previously, but I'm working towards a new setup. So this is the first step. I absolutely love this. Keeps all my wood right in view. I know what I have, what length it is, and what I need to get for the next job if I don't have enough. So absolutely love it. I made a couple changes to the design as I drew before. I added a sheet of chipboard down along the bottom where these sheets slide in. Just that way you can slide it in and don't have to worry about it hitting each 4x4 as it goes in. Also, I added a sheet of chipboard on the top. I didn't think the 2x4s would be rugged enough along the top rails, so I just put a sheet of chipboard on the top and 2 sheets of chipboard on either side, about 3 to 4 inches. That gives it a little more stability, rocking back and forth. It holds it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I definitely did. I'm going to continue to upload videos of upgrading my shop and building and designing new items to go in it on a low budget. So if you're interested in that, interested in building your own shop, just stay tuned. There will be more videos on that in between all the other projects I have going. Hey guys, once again, thank you for watching, and also a big thank you to those who have been active with these videos, and whether they're liking, commenting, and a big one, sharing these videos so other people can watch them as well. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.